Out of the 10 characters who currently have themed skin events, a whopping 70% of them hail from Mondstadt. One reason might be that Mondstadt is an outdated nation and skins help to revive interest in its characters. That may be true to some extent, but I think there could also be a cool lore-based reason for why Mondstadt skins are really common. Basically, my proposition is that Mondstadt is a city with a lot of secrets and maybe even a sense of duplicity. What you see on the surface does not represent the entirety of the city's characteristics, and the same can be said for lots of the characters who are harboring secrets or other less obvious sides to their personalities. Hence, giving them skins can provide us with an insight into other parts of their personalities, making them have more meaning than simply being outfit changes. While there is a little bit of that element for all the Mondstadt characters with skins, it's more of a prominent theme with the adult characters since they've been through much more in life. And so today I'm going to discuss the lore behind the skins of Jean, Diluc, Lisa, and Kaeya in terms of how they shed light on their true selves and also at the same time obscure some part of it. If you like these kinds of analyses, you might want to subscribe to my channel to show some support and catch my future content much more easily. Jean's outfit called Seabreeze Dandelion came during the first wave of skins to be released by Genshin Impact, and so it could easily seem just like a monetization or fashion gimmick, which is true, but that doesn't mean that the outfit lacks depth to it. From the name of the outfit, the dandelion part hints at Jean being the Dandelion Knight, which is the usual role we find her in, but it's also subverted by the term sea breeze, indicating a carefree quality which is usually not present in Jean's character. What makes the description of this outfit very interesting is that we get a detailed explanation for how it was made in the first place. We found out that Lisa, Barbara, Kaeya, Diluc, Amber, Albedo, Klee, and Noelle all had a part in crafting or embellishing the outfit, which means that this one piece of clothing was the result of a community effort. What's particularly interesting about this is that the knights often see her as a very conscientious and hardworking leader who probably lives to work rather than the other way around. So you'd think that her fellow knights would pigeonhole her into someone who's completely stiff and serious. However, the fact that they were able to contribute to designing such a light, summery, casual outfit for her means that they know that the more light-hearted side of Jean's personality does in fact exist, and that they'd love to see this other side of herself. Basically, it shows that they appreciate her for more than just her reliable work ethic, and they also likely view her as a treasured friend who is kind and sweet. It also demonstrates how well regarded she is by her co-workers, heck, even her ex-co-worker, to the point where they'd all be willing to put in the time to contribute to this surprise for her. And that's quite a testament to her leadership charisma. To them, Jean is the beacon of hope and inspiration for Mondstadt, and she deserves something in return for her impeccable public service. Compared to her usual outfits, Favonian Devotion and Gunhilder's Legacy, which align with her personality of the acting Grandmaster, what Seabreeze Dandelion invites us to do is see Jean for who she is behind all that armor and acknowledge that she is well-rounded enough to have a fun-loving side to her, and that she can make exceptions to her rules rather than being a stuck-up as some might expect from someone of her stature and personality. This is not only evident in the fact that she wore Seabreeze Dandelion for a short time, but in the way she relates with her co-workers with a non-judgmental attitude, accepting their various approaches to work and life without imposing rigidity on them. She's incredibly patient and accepting towards her fellow knights who are oddballs, and she respects their freedom of choice as much as she exercises hers to put in more work hours. However, while Seabreeze Dandelion gives us a hint about Jean's true self, like her love for classic literature ranging from romance books to Kyrian legends, her fondness for occasional tea breaks, this outfit obviously doesn't paint the full picture with regards to Jean's personality, as her disciplined, measured, and conscientious side is not just a facade, but is also something that's part of her. Spending too much time wearing Seabreeze Dandelion also wouldn't be too satisfying for Jean because her role as a leader and administrator is also comfortable and comes naturally to her. So all three of Jean's outfits help complete our perception of Jean's true character as a whole from different perspectives. Compared to the other characters I'm gonna talk about, Diluc is the only one with a 5-star skin that changes his idle animations and combat lines, but oddly enough, it is also similar to his regular outfit in terms of composition, with the usual shirt, pants, coat, and boots formula. Nonetheless, Red Dead of Night is noticeably more striking, extravagant, and a little bit edgy to some degree, as opposed to his regular outfit, Dark Knight Blaze, which may seem kinda gothic but still has a gentlemanly, down-to-earth vibe around it. Interestingly, Dark Knight Blaze also hints at Diluc's being a Dark Knight hero, but it doesn't sound as aggressive as Red Dead of Night. I mean, the dead part says it all. If you see this outfit at nighttime, don't expect to survive. Stay at home, folks. Like Jean's skin, Diluc's was essentially tailored according to the recommendations of someone close to him, and that was his father Krepus. He created this ceremonial uniform for Diluc as a way of pinning his and the rest of Mondstadt's hopes and dreams on the young man to the point where he'd look like a wrapped Christmas present for Mondstadt. Well, kidding aside, this outfit somehow served as Krepus sort of manifesting the destiny of his son to be the knight who would bring dawn to Mondstadt. It's similar to the way Jean's friends collaborating on making an outfit for her as a tribute to her leadership skills and her kind, gentle soul. However, in Diluc's case, this outfit came with much more pressure and expectations for him, but it was a pressure he was willing to take on anyway. But as we know, Diluc's father ended up meeting his demise in a very untimely and disturbing manner, and it shifted Diluc's view of the world tremendously. Of course, we know that he's still a good guy, but his idea of how to go about helping Mondstadt was turned on its head, and so he quit the Knights and became a vigilante while wearing his father's delusion instead of his own vision. And this is the outfit that he wore during those escapades. Well, it's not the exact same outfit anymore because they had to modify it. If you think about it, the outfit's purpose and even part of its style were subverted to match the shift in Diluc's personality and worldview. So in a sense, the outfit became partly defined by his father, but also partially self-constructed and self-determined. All in all, the outfit doesn't actually provide us with a very new information about Diluc's lore, but it really aids in the visual storytelling of his transformation and emphasizes the intensity of his life turning around and the fiery anger he possessed during this time as reflected in the outfit's stark redness, which apparently doesn't usually work well with redheads, but he manages to pull it off. In a sense, this is Diluc's true self, encompassing the frustrations he hides underneath the ideal nobleman facade he puts on daily. This outfit gives us a hint not only about his true identity but his true stances about justice, even if they can be rather harsh and unforgiving. We're also able to get insight into the more aggressive side of his personality as well as the roots behind that. However, that's also not to say that his regular high society gentleman outfit is a facade, because it's also quite often ignored that Diluc's business management is really catered towards the needs of Mondstadt, ranging from economic to cultural necessities. He's rather generous and soft-hearted towards Mondstadt citizens despite being a fierce critic of the Knights, and that complements his bloodlust evident in his Red Dead of Night skin. Both of these are what make him a truly effective protector of the city. Lisa's skin really overhauled her entire appearance basically, as it took on a different cultural inspiration from her current outfit, Purple Rose. It's obvious that this is based on the usual Sumeru Academia uniform, pointing towards her prestigious educational background. It's worth noting that she had this outfit commissioned by a tailor in Sumeru, making her the only character featured in this video to have a full say regarding the appearance of her skin, rather than being dressed up by someone else. Interestingly, the outfit name hints at the whole duplicity and persona idea heavily, with Sobriquet meaning nickname. She's often called the Witch of Purple Rose, and the outfit's description explains that Rose was a sort of nickname or epithet for Lisa during her stay at the Academia, because the terms Rose and Padisara referred to highly accomplished researchers, while other students were called Sweet Flowers and Mitts, because they're common and can be found literally everywhere, even in Dragonspine. However, Lisa fans would know that she doesn't really support the high level of competitiveness within the academia, and she's humble enough to not view herself necessarily being better than others. Even though she was responsible for completing her predecessor's unfinished studies and contributed to a few academic breakthroughs, leading her peers to wonder if she could become the youngest sage in history. So what she did was to subvert the flower analogy by using her own flower analogy to explain her stance of democratized knowledge, essentially. She talked about how scholars work to cultivate roses to the point where they can now grow anywhere, thus losing their sort of perceived specialness, which was previously attributed to their rarity. But according to her, this isn't bad for the roses because their inherent qualities still persisted. It's basically saying that uplifting the erudition of a wide group of people is good because it doesn't make exceptionally intelligent people less smart just because there are now people of the same caliber as them. In addition to this, she also says that flowers should be judged according to their growth habits and environments rather than whatever label people put on them. Basically, she's trying to advocate for the recognition of various types of capabilities and intelligence rather than holding everyone to the same standards. Thus, it can be said that she wants the distribution of knowledge to be more democratized and that she hopes that knowledge won't be used to segregate people. And I think this mentality of hers contributed to her decision to become a librarian, as she facilitates the distribution of knowledge in Mondstadt while preventing citizens from accessing disturbing forms of it. In some sense, this outfit hints at the true level of wisdom, intelligence, and strength that Lisa is hiding in order to avoid the adverse consequences of possessing too much power. So now, we can sort of get a hint of what Lisa was like in her full glory. However, it doesn't encompass the entirety of her true self because her languid librarian persona isn't just a facade to hide her true powers, but reflects her desires for how to live life and take care of the people around her. Ultimately, she does want to live a peaceful life in her hometown more than dedicating her time to backbreaking research that might be going overboard. And so her default outfit, Purple Rose, shows her strong ties to Mondstadt to reflect that. But of course, we can't deny the contribution that the Sumerian Academia had to her overall level of intellect and wisdom. So both of these skins help us to fully understand Lisa beyond only being a lazy librarian, and also seeing her beyond only being a top-notch graduate, as both of these go hand in hand. Lastly, the most recently released and I dare say most intriguing out of these skins is Sailwind Shadow, which Kaeya acquired from starring in a play directed by Zosimos in the Velurium Mirage, in which he played the role of the Dagger Bandit. The Sailwind part is likely a nod to his claims of having pirate origins, which is likely a fib, and the Shadow part, which hints at his shady conduct as he tries to suppress evil forces in Mondstadt through unconventional and slightly illegitimate means, compared to Lisa, who got to have her own outfit made, and Jean and Diluc, who got their outfits tailored by other people close to them. Kaeya's outfit was ready-made and simply altered to fit him. Thus, it's not really meant for him, except Zosimos' reaction as well as the skin's lore make it seem like this outfit did a good job of being coincidentally made for him, that it almost seemed like it was destined to be worn by him or something. In fact, the description of this skin involves Kaeya pondering the meaning of being a bandit with a dagger as opposed to a knight with a sword, which seems very allegorical in his case. He had this idea that in traditional plays, each character has their designated role and can't really deviate from it, which is why a bandit can't behave like a knight and vice versa. This seems to hint at his struggle of reconciling the bandit and the knight side of himself, and his worries that playing both roles in real life amounts to defying the rules of life to the point where he might be asked to pay the price later on. By bandit, I don't mean that Kaeya steals, but this bandit character represents his shady side, since the dagger bandit's dagger is usually hidden from view and only taken out during an ambush, which is coincidentally how he corners lots of criminals around Mondstadt. It's likely not just about the fact that he's evolved in lots of illicit methods to suppress criminal activity, but the fact that he is hiding something about himself that could potentially be harmful to those around him, and that's his Kaeyan lineage. All of that combined makes him a bandit in some sense, yet he's also able to fulfill the role of a righteous knight, even though he still has worries about whether his bandit personality compromises his integrity. However, it must also be noted that he characterizes the Master Thief as someone who steals from the bad guys, similar to how he uses some criminals' modus operandi against them. It goes to show that even playing the bandit does have some sort of unconventional sense of integrity to it, which he is willingly able to embrace, even though it's also weighing down on his conscience. In a sense, it can be similar to Diluc's role as the Dark Knight hero, but it's less complicated for Diluc since he's not with the Knights anymore. In the play, the Dagger Bandit is also the one to bring light back to the darkness where he hails from, so it could be a representation of a potential savior-like destiny for him, despite his relatively shameful background. And besides, I must mention that Mondstadt was always founded on rebellion and going against the norm anyway, so he should appreciate this side of himself more. Anyway, the outfit hints heavily at his true self by serving as an allegory for his shady operations, being the truth behind his facade of legitimacy and propriety, showcasing some sense of moral ambiguity deep beneath the prestige of being a Favonius captain. This outfit may also give us some clues about his Kaeyan and Indian origins, because even though this very Indian-inspired outfit wasn't commissioned by him, the framing was that this outfit still did fit him way too perfectly. But on the other hand, I wouldn't reduce Icy Feather Flight to simply being a facade, because his allegiance to the Knights and his desire to serve the people of Mondstadt is also genuine, as shown in how helpful he was to everybody, especially Klee, during the event. His affinity for Mondstadt and its ideals of freedom are also part of his true self, so together both these outfits make up the full picture of his personality, and the fact that he looks so good in what is presumably his own cultural clothing, as well as the clothes of the nation he currently resides in, shows that it is possible to uphold both of these cultural identities together, and Mondstadt always has been accepting towards immigrants anyway. That's all for my little ramble about some of my favorite characters' skins and what that says about them. If you like how I overanalyze how fashion sense and personality are connected, then you might enjoy my other content, so why not subscribe to this channel? If you're a huge fan of Jean, Diluc, Kaeya, and or Lisa, then feel free to like this video and comment your support for our lovely kings and queens of Mondstadt. Anyway, that's it for today, and I'll see you next time.